Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga Flow. My name is Ali. This class is going to be an all-level flow that definitely offers some challenging options that you can add on if you're feeling strong that day. So we are going to start class today lying on our back. Once you lie down, you can bring your knees together and your feet apart and just turn your palms up. Feel free to close your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths here. And every time you exhale, just feel your back even out a little more on the mat. Slow, deep breathing. Today we're going to be doing moon salutations. And so if you'd like, you can set an intention for today's class that just like the moon has phases in your life, maybe you're going through a tough phase right now, but another phase is always coming. We're always changing. So you can trust in that. Something new is coming, maybe something better. But you're on to new things. Last deep breath here. When you're ready, you can start to swish your knees from side to side. And feel free to adjust the distance of your heels to your glutes. You can bring them a little closer to your bottom, a little further away. Let the breath get deeper and deeper. If it feels good to hold the knees on one side, you're welcome to bring that other foot on top to gently weigh down the knee and get a deeper stretch for the front of your hips. Just remember to let go a little bit every time you exhale. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Feel free to keep moving wherever it feels good to take this. Next, we'll move to bound angle, so bottoms of the feet press together gently. Let your hips just open up. Maybe it feels good just to stay here and breathe. I'm going to gently press into that pinky edge of the foot. Just slowly lift up into bridge. I like to do little rocks at the top, but you can kind of test it out. Maybe lifting and lowering a couple times. Decompressing your back, waking up the thighs a little. Feel free to explore. Next, we'll move to happy baby. You can grab your big toes, or you can grab onto your heels. If your hands don't reach, just grab anywhere on the outside of your leg and gently use your exhale to open up the knees a little more. Sometimes little rocks side to side feel good. Sometimes holding it in the center. One more deep breath. From here, just bring your knees to your chest. You can take a couple rocks. And when you're ready, find a seated position. I'll turn to face you. We're just going to bring our hands to our knees and begin to take nice big circles with the chin and the chest. If you still have a lot of mental tightness or mental chatter going on, feel free to close your eyes. Like you're stirring a pot, massaging all your organs. After you do a couple one way, change directions. And we'll come back to center for seated cat and cow. As you inhale, look up. As you exhale, round your back, chin to chest. Keep that going at your own pace, trying to deepen your breath. No need to rush. Inhaling both arms overhead. Take a twist to one side. You can bring your hand to your knee, looking over your shoulder. Don't forget to breathe. Unwinding, take a big breath in. And exhale as you twist to the other side. Returning to center, one more big breath in. And then when you're ready, just bring your hands down and we'll face the front of our mat. I always like to, before I begin a flow, just kind of test out my wrists, see how they're feeling that day. So a way that you can do that is just to gently pour some weight forward and back. Maybe even turning your fingers back for a gentle wrist stretch. Just be mindful. You never want to force it. You just want to gently pour some weight into it. Turning your fingers back to the front and setting up for downward dog. So from here, we're just going to press up to downward dog. You've got some time here, perhaps to pedal out the legs, relaxing your shoulders, your neck. Feel free to bend your knees if that helps you get better stretch for your spine. One more breath here. All right, we're going to lead with our right leg. So take your right leg up to the sky. Doesn't have to go high, but try not to open the hips too much here so you can really get a nice stretch. And then when you're ready, bring the leg through. I like to use my blocks here. So you can grab your blocks, place them next to you so that you can really focus on opening up the chest. Rather than dumping your weight down, try to stay nice and lifted, pushing into that front foot, stretching across your chest. Take one more breath here. And then we'll just put our right hand on the inside of our right foot. The block is optional. You can definitely put your hand right on the floor and then hug your knee to your tricep. Take your gaze up and use all your energy, all your effort to really expand upwards. Keep the breath flowing. Moving to gate pose, go ahead and come up. Adjust your back foot. Stretch your front foot. Expand. Breathe. And then from here, bring your hand down and take a side bend. Coming up, turn back to the front of your mat and take your flow. Stepping back to plank pose. Option to drop your knees if you need to. Lowering to chaturanga. Cobra. And on your exhale, back to downward dog. Continuing with your left leg, take it up to the sky. Bring it through, kneeling lunge. You've got your blocks here. Let go of any tension as you breathe. Instead of just letting the chin go back, you want to lift from your chest. Adding the twist, bring your hand on the inside. Take your gaze up. All that energy lifting, expanding. Bringing it up to gate pose, adjust your back foot. Open up your arms. Fill in the space. And then when you're ready, side bend. Breathing. Deepening. Bring it back up. And take your flow. Anytime that we do a flow, you can always opt out if you'd rather just take child's pose for a little recovery. But taking our flow allows us to build some endurance in our shoulders, in our breath. We're going to add on. So now right leg goes to the sky. We'll bring it through again. This time, repeating hands on blocks or perhaps adding the arms. I'm going to roll my pinkies in, really trying to get the biceps behind the ears so we get that awesome stretch for the lat muscles right here at the base of the arm. Open twist. Hand can go to the block or the floor. Gaze goes up. Feel free to add the bind with me this time. We'll wrap the top arm behind the back. We'll take our bottom arm under the thigh. And here, the stretch is nice on its own, but if you lean forward a little bit, you get a little tourniquet effect on that arm. You get a nice little compression there to just squeeze. Gate pose is next, coming up. Open up, practice balance, and then side bend. Inhale, take it up. Take your flow. Maybe this time, if you're looking for a little more of a workout, feel free to add a couple of push-ups or take your flow. We'll meet in downward dog. Left leg to the sky, big breath in. Bring it through. Your base is set. Arms can go up. Biceps behind the ears as you roll the pinkies in, lifting your heart. Open twist. Bind is available, wrapping the top arm behind your back, bottom arm under your thigh, and then maybe lunging forward. Just squeeze the arm with the leg. Don't forget to breathe. Bringing it up to gate. Take your side bend. And then find your flow or add your push-ups. Front of the mat. Take it down. Long exhale back. We have one more round here in our little warm-up. Right leg to the sky. This time, we're going to step it through to high lunge. If you need to, though, go ahead. Drop that back knee a second time. Charging off the back foot, really pressing your hips forward. Open up the chest. From here, we're just going to pivot that back heel down. Open up the arms and slide right into it. So I'm bringing that pinky finger inside of the first and second toe, and I'm taking my chin up to the top shoulder. Nice and easy, reverse your warrior. Inhale, and take your flow. Push-ups are still available. Cobra or up dog. And downward dog. We continue, left leg to the sky. Step it through, high lunge. Lots of control here. Pressing off the back toes. Grounded and balanced. Back heel goes down, open up. Slicing right between the big toe and the second toe. Gaze goes up. Powerful. You're stretching up, you're stretching forward, you're stretching back. Reverse your warrior. Inhale. Take your flow. Use the breath. Long exhale back. From here, we'll simply walk to the front of the mat and we'll take a little squat position. So sitting down onto your heels. This may feel good already, just stretching the Achilles, the ankles. If you would like a deeper stretch, you can separate your knees and lower your elbows down. Now, some days your hips might feel tight or your neck might feel tight, so a block under the elbows is an option. If you feel like practicing crow, this is a nice moment to do that. So you would simply bring your hands down, keep your elbows bent to create a little shelf for your knees, and then lift up your hips, get the knee onto the triceps, gaze is forward, not looking down, forward. You start to slowly transfer the weight forward so that it effortlessly lifts the feet. Keep the breath flowing. If you fall out of it, that's okay. There's time to come back in. All right, let's come up to standing. So knees together, a nice big breath in. And then hands to your heart. So for this next sequence, we're going to do a moon salutation, and it helps to have a block at the front and the back of your mat, just in case you need it when we get there. I'm going to come to the front of my mat, and I'll face you just so you can see, and we're going to do half moon. So still stay at the top of your mat, but face me. Inhale the arms overhead. Interlace your hands and release your steeple. Bring the biceps up by the ears, and we'll start to side bend to the left. So take a big breath in and take a side bend all the way to the left, stretching, stretching, stretching. As you inhale, come back up through center, and we'll take it over to the right. Keep your upper shoulder opening, lower shoulder coming forward, and then right back. All right, from here, you're just going to step your left leg back. So left leg goes back, and we're opening up to 5-point star. So you're really expanding. If you want to challenge your balance, you can even try rising up to your toes for a second. And then bring your hands down to your knees for goddess pose or hero pose. Transferring the weight between the feet. Go ahead and take your arms out and feel some heat building in your legs here. We're moving towards the back of our mat for triangle. So pivot your feet, tee out your arms, and this is where that block comes in handy. You can place the block on the inside of the foot. Take your gaze up. Lots of breath. You're stretching in every single direction, up through the arm, forward through the head, back through the hip and heel. Moving to pyramid. Square your hips. I like to step my back foot in. My hamstrings are a little tight, so that helps. And then you can kind of choose the height of your block to just drape your torso over your leg. Gently stretch your hamstring and feel free to take a little micro bend in this front knee if you feel too much intensity in the hamstring or the low back. The breath really helps here. So we did all that to one side. We're going to reverse it now. So we take it back up to triangle. Energizing, reaching. We use the top arm to pull up into goddess. And then we do the same thing on the other side. So triangle. Grabbing the block if you need it. Taking the gaze up. Feel your head aligning with your spine, aligning with your hips. Pyramid pose. So the back foot is going to step in. Utilize the block at any height that's comfortable. And then maybe micro bend if you need to. Nice and easy now. We just step the feet together at the top of the mat. Fold forward. And rise up to standing. Since we got to do both sides in that direction, when we move forward now, you might be able to deepen, to add on with me. So we're going to add little layers. They're just optional. Taking the arms overhead, steeple mudra. Inhale to stretch up. This time we go to the left first. So up and over, breathing. Back through center, big breath in. Take it over. Back through center. Step your left leg back, or your right leg back. And open up to 5-point star. Again, you have the option to rise onto your toes. And then bring it into goddess stance, going right into those bent elbows, trying not to stick the hips back, but we want to stay neutral here. Let the heat build as you sit a little bit lower. Find some intensity here. Triangle pose, so we're taking it to the back. Adjust your block if you need it. So our base was triangle right here. For those that want to add on, you can take half a bind, or you can take the full bind. Lengthening through the crown of the head. Slowly releasing. We'll proceed to pyramid. So a little fun add-on that you can try here to build strength in the upper body and in the hamstrings. From pyramid, using the gauge of the distance of your back foot, you bend your back leg and place your hands as close to that back leg as you can get. You're tucking the back knee behind the front knee and slowly starting to lift the heel. As you do that, you're feeling out whether or not you can support the weight of your body. So you're putting the weight in the fingertips, and then if you can, you work on lifting the back leg. You can try that a couple of breaths, and then take it back to pyramid. Let's reverse. Triangle. With or without the bind. Goddess pose. Triangle back to the front. And then our final pose in the sequence, pyramid back here to the front leg. So setting it up. If you did so on the other side, you bring the hands back. Tuck the back knee in. And maybe bringing the weight into your fingertips, getting the weight out of the back foot. From here, step your feet forward, take a halfway lift. Fold forward. And rise up to mountain standing. Great job, guys. So from here, we're going to build a little bit of strength in the shoulders, and we're going to do 3 rounds for 30 seconds. So let's come down to the mat, set up in forearm plank, and you definitely want to try to keep your elbows in line with your shoulders. What tends to happen when we come into plank, when things get intense, we start to collapse in the shoulders like this, and that can cause a lot of tension and pain in our neck. So you want to exaggerate the rounding in your upper back and push down so that you build the strength in your chest and your shoulders. So we're going to set that up. Try not to let the elbows separate, and then press up into forearm plank. We're going to be here 30 seconds. The tough part is trying not to fidget, but that's super helpful if later you want to be able to do your inversion, your pincha mayurasana. You want to be able to hold it without moving too much. We've got about 15 seconds left. It's no problem if at the beginning you need to take little breaks. Try not to sink. Push away from the floor, suck the belly in, press out through your heels. Stay strong for these last 8 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and come down. If you need a little stretch for your shoulders, you can interlace your hands behind your back and breathe. Okay, so for our second set, we're going to add dolphin. And it's better to do 2 rounds of dolphin really, really well than to do 8 halfway. So we want to stack our bones as much as possible, from your elbows to your shoulders to your hips to your feet one day. We set up again in forearm plank, and maybe for you today, you just kind of hang out here for the second round as well, but we want to stack. So my elbows are at the bottom, my shoulders are right above that. I'm going to begin to tippy toe my feet forward until I can get my hips right over and maybe take one leg up. From there, I tiptoe back. Again, like I said, better to do 2 really, really solid ones with everything lined up. You maybe get a little shake and bake, and then you slowly take it back down. So do a couple more of those, or hold it right here in the center. And if you feel excited about lifting into pincha, feel free to keep doing this up against a wall. You just need a little bit of space between you and the wall. Last couple seconds here. And take a break. Next, we're going to stretch our shoulders. So eagle stretch is nice here. You take the arms overhead and just bring one arm under the other. Maybe you just grab your shoulders and stretch forward. But if you want to really feel the stretch, try to get your palms together. And then again, kind of tuck your chin to chest and stretch your elbows forward, rounding your back as much as possible. After a couple breaths on this side, we'll do the same thing on the other side. So release it, take a breath in, and bring your other arm under. Again, it's okay to grab your shoulders if you're not able to bind yet. Excited for our last round. Are you ready? Okay, for our third and final round, we have 30 seconds again. You can set it up in forearm plank. You can add that dolphin up against a wall, or if you are feeling ready for pincha, you're going to go ahead and stay as long as you can in pincha, being very mindful of your shoulders. So set it up. You're pushing some weight into the fingertips. You're tiptoeing forward, taking a leg up, and you're starting to transfer the weight. Use your breath. When you're ready to come out of it, you can come out of it and go right back to pincha, or right back to plank. About 30 seconds. Feel free to repeat a second round, and then take a break when you're done. Pressing back into child's pose, give your shoulders a full release by bringing your hands back to your heels. Slowly coming up. For our final sequence, I do recommend using your blocks since we're going to be doing a little more balance work. So you can place these at the front of your mat, ready to go, standing at the tallest point or maybe mid-height. We'll begin with eagle pose. Feet together at the front of your mat. As you inhale, stretch your arms overhead. And as you exhale, bring your right arm under your left. Or again, you can grab your shoulders. Sitting into an imaginary chair. When you're ready, take your right leg up and over. You're welcome to rest your toes on the mat for a little more stability. Or if you're ready, you can wrap it all the way around your calf. Sit a little bit lower. Work on balance. And then move into skater pose, nice and slow, as controlled as possible. Take the leg back. Activate your entire back body. Keep bending your standing leg. Now you have your blocks there in front of you just for this reason. If you want to hold on to really activate the back body, you can do that. And then challenge yourself to release the arms. One more breath here. Warrior one. Gently land the back leg. Take your gaze up. Breathe. Next is pyramid pose. So we've been here before. We already stretched quite a few times in pyramid. Just allowing some time here to feel out your hips, your hamstrings. Using your exhale to deepen. And then when you're ready, on your inhale, lengthen your spine. On your exhale, take the left arm out, opening up to revolving triangle. Now, if your spine doesn't feel straight here, I feel like I would be a little more aligned bringing the block down or maybe even taking it to the lowest point. So find where it feels comfortable, breathe a lot, and you always have the option to micro bend that front knee. Take another breath. Hands come down. Gently, we're going to tuck that back knee in for seated twist. So just however you can, get down to the floor. Make sure that top leg is wrapped nice and tight with your foot firmly planted. Inhale the right arm up and take a twist. Breathe. When you unwrap here, we're going to have some fun setting up in figure four. This would be a nice place to stay and stretch. If it feels great, stay here longer. If your back is feeling a little tight, or if you're just feeling tired at this point, just lay on your back. And you can certainly just bring your knees to your chest or walk up your leg for a stretch. I'm going to come back up because I want to add on. So here we have our left leg on top. I'll turn to face you just so you can see the setup here. If I wanted to move to cradle, I'm just going to step my foot into my elbow, bring my knee into the elbow. And then a really important part of this stretch is instead of sickling the foot like this, I want to evert my foot a little. I want to get that pinky toe out. So I'm pushing through the ball of the foot. And then from there, just finding a nice glute stretch. Doesn't have to be tons of movement, just little bitty rocks. Enjoying the stretch. If you want to add on one more time, we're going to bring the arm through to create a kickstand. So I'm placing my fingers down. I'm using my elbow to press the thigh open as much as possible. And then I'm going to take my hand and grab onto the pinky side of my foot. From here, I'm using the breath to slowly extend. This requires hamstring flexibility and quad strength. So please don't feel like you have to force it. Go really slow. We've warmed up the hamstrings quite a bit to get to this point. If you want one final arm balance, from here we can take it to 8-limbed pose. We place the other foot on top. We create a little lock here. We scoop the elbows under and we straighten the legs as we shift forward. Takes a little bit of practice, but we warmed up the shoulders. So see if you can play with it, test it out. From here, we're just going to set up again so that we can do all that on the other side. So you can gently come up, maybe without the help from your hands, but I'll meet you here at the front of your mat. Standing my blocks tall again, bringing the feet together. As you inhale, take the arms overhead. This time we bring left arm under right. Sit into the imaginary chair. Bring left leg up and over. Toes can rest, or we wrap them all the way around. Focus. Breathe. Prepare for skater pose. Take it up and back. Go slow. There's no rush. Keep your focal point steady to help you balance. When you're ready, warrior one. Land soft. Take the gaze up. Don't forget to breathe. Pyramid pose. I'm stepping the back foot in. I'm recruiting my blocks for some help. I'll go ahead and lower them for revolving triangle, taking the arm out to the side and then rolling that left hip forward a little more. If there's any tension in your neck and shoulders, you can always bring it back down. You don't have to open up all the way. From here, hand goes down to the floor. Tuck the back knee in. Seated twist. Arm goes up. And we'll take a little twist over to the side. Avoid holding the breath. Let it flow as you twist. All right, my favorite part, figure four. Love the glute stretch here. I've always had tight hamstrings, and that moves into the glutes, so all this stuff feels pretty good. Again, you can lay on your back for this part. If you're going to proceed to take it a little deeper into cradle, bring that pinky toe back, bring the ball of the foot forward. Spend some breath in cradle. And then if you'd like to add compass, we'll take the arm on the inside, press open with the elbow, and then start to extend the leg. If you'd like to finish with the same pose we did on the other side, just take your foot on top, create a little hook, elbows under the body, and then squeeze, squeeze, squeeze straight. Slowly bring it back down. Great job, guys. From here, we'll just move on to our back. Bringing your knees to your chest. A gentle spinal twist from side to side. Since our hamstrings are nice and warmed up, we can take our feet up and overhead. So if we're going to practice plow, letting the feet go up and over, and then releasing any tension on the neck. My chin is pointing straight up. If your hamstrings don't enjoy this pose, you can definitely come out of it and take bridge instead. So you can press the hips up and hold bridge. If you're still in plow, feel free to play around here as long as there's no tension, no pressure in your neck. You can bend your knees to your forehead, your nose. You can point the legs up into shoulder stand. When you're ready, roll down one vertebrae at a time. Coming into fish pose. This is one of my favorites. It feels so good for any tension in the back. So I'm going to get the block, and I'm essentially going to place it right between my shoulders. I want my head and my tailbone to touch the floor. So when I take it back, as long as my head is comfortably resting and my hips are comfortably down, I'm good. For some people, we're a little tight here, so this tends to happen where their hips are lifted. So if that was the case for you, I would get your other block, support your head so that that's not just hanging, and then see if you could slide your hips back down. And then just get comfy here. Let your palms open up. Let your feet flop out. A couple more deep breaths here. You can lie here as long as you'd like. When you're ready to come up, you can roll off the block or just sit yourself up. And since we've been talking about the phases of the moon, don't forget that sometimes, like the phases of the moon, you have to experience a little bit of emptiness in order to be full again. So if there's something in your life right now that's taking up space, let go of it. Let yourself be empty for a little while, and you'll be surprised with what occupies the space. Something new will come, something awesome. If you liked this class, feel free to browse the other classes that we have here in the app. If you want to get a nice little sculpt and tone, try one of our bootcamp classes. I promise you won't regret it. And we hope to see you in the studio. If you live in Laredo, we look forward to meeting you in person. Bye, guys.